Coming up on Inside Westwood, hear from Town Clerk Dottie Powers on the important election information. We'll have an update from the community projects with Nora Loughnane and hear from Hale Reservation on my favorite section, Into the Woods, and so much more. Stay tuned. Hello, and welcome to Inside Westwood. I'm your host, John Cummings, reporter from the Westwood Media Center. Inside Westwood is designed to update the community on what just happened, what's going on, and what's coming up. The town elections are upon us, and it's helpful to know when to vote, but also how to run for an open seat. We sat down with Town Clerk Dottie Powers and broke down everything you'll need to know. Dottie's come down to talk to us about the dog licensing period and the census.
Thank you for having me, John.
Oh, thank you for coming.
The dog licensing is very important. We do it as a public safety issue, and our licensing began December 1st. It's a calendar year, and it continues through March 31st. And if you haven't licensed your dog by that time, you will be given a $25 fine.
Oh, wow. How much is the license?
The license is $10 for spay or neutered dogs and $15 if the dog is not.
Okay, and if isn't there a special? Didn't we just vote in something about the 70 plus?
We absolutely did, and I was very happy that people voted to support that at town meeting. If you are 70 or older, you are allowed one dog per household to waive the fee. That does not mean that you don't have to license a dog. You still do. We need the updated rabies, but we will waive that $10 fee.
Excellent. And you can combine all that with your town census as well?
Yes, absolutely. So when we send the census out, which every household should have received the census, there is a tear off at the bottom, and what you can do is you can send in your payment and send the registration rate with your census form. The only thing that you have to be certain of is that your rabies is up to date. So if you have any question on that, check with the town clerk's office to see if we have an updated rabies on file. If not, you can just put a copy in with your check and registration.
Excellent. And it's February, so I know that means that nomination papers and offices for the town are up for grabs. Could you tell us something about how someone could pull papers and what offices are open? Absolutely.
So in order to run for a town office, you have to be a registered voter. It's a very easy process. Come into the town clerk's office. We have nomination papers available. We will have them available until March 2nd. That would be the last day to pull papers. Our office will be open until 5 p.m. that day. And the last day you can submit the papers would be March 6th to the Board of Registrars for certification.
And you have to, in order to get the signature, they have to be a registered voter in Westwood?
They do, yes.
All right.
Yes, and you should have, once you get the nomination papers, you're required to have 50 signatures of registered voters, but it's always good to have at least 60 because sometimes you may have somebody sign that's not a registered voter.
Just in case. Excellent. And what offices are open in the town?
We have 2 seats on the Board of Assessors. We have 1 seat that is a 3-year term, and a second seat is a 1-year term, and that's to fill a vacancy. One of our longtime Board of Assessors, Michael Crone, moved from town and resigned in January.
Well, Michael, thank you very much for your years of service. I know you did an amazing job.
And we also have the town moderator. That's 1 seat. That's a 1-year term. The planning board has 2 seats, and those are 3-year terms. The school committee has 1 seat. That's a 1-year, 3-year term. Sewer Commission has 1 seat, that's a 3-year term. Town Treasurer has 1 seat, that is a 3-year term. The Library Trustees has 2 seats, 3-year term. And the Board of Selectmen, there's 1 seat, and that's a 3-year term.
All right, now some of these seats, the incumbents are going to continue to run, and some of them are wide open. How does someone find out what's what?
That's public information, and that is on the town clerk's website under voting and elections. And each time somebody pulls papers, we update that information. Starting a campaign, all the important dates. There's also campaign finance laws that we have to abide by, and all the candidates do, regardless of whether you want to have a committee or raise funds. Everybody has campaign finance obligations. and all
Sometimes
of
it's just
that.
saying that you have none.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what I do.
Absolutely, yes.
Well, Dottie, thank you very much for coming down. That's excellent information for the town. And
Thank you.
if anyone has any questions, please contact the studio or the town hall. Dottie's there every day.
Yep, thank you very much.
Westwood is always changing and improving, but it can be hard to keep up with it all. Nora Loughnane stopped by to give us an update on everything that's coming up, including the changes in the proposal to Islington Center. Nora, thank you very much for coming down. I know you're really busy right now, and it's critical path time, and thank you for sharing all this.
Well, thanks for having me, John. This program has been terrific. It gets a lot of information out to our residents, and I'm happy to come down and answer your questions and talk to you about everything going on in Westwood.
I do got to tell you, the most watched section is when you're on. So
That's interesting.
we could really call it the Nora Show. So how is University Station going?
It's going very well. One of the most exciting things I can report is that Del Frisco's Grill is almost ready to open. So the restaurant received their certificate of occupancy this week, and they've set their opening date for March 14th. So less than a month to go, and we'll have another great restaurant in Westwood. The Board of Selectmen issued a change of manager approval on Monday night, so they have their new manager on board, and they are ready to go. So we're looking forward to seeing them. Also at University Station, we have the Brigham and Women's Office Building, which is still under construction, and they're on target to open in the fall, probably early October. And we've begun talking to the administration at that new facility about programs that they can put in place to assist Westwood residents. So they might be health information sessions or topics that are of interest to Westwood residents. So
That'll be a great addition.
they will be. They'll be a great member of our community. For Gables Residential, we've been talking about that for a while now. That project is fully constructed and it's now fully occupied. They have 38 students. It's 350 apartments, and that has generated 38 students at the Westwood schools. Some of those are students that were already in the Westwood schools that may be living there temporarily while there's work on their house or have moved from a house to there. But overall, a total of 38 students. That compares to the peer review consultant's estimate of between 49 and 63 before the project was built. So we are a bit under on what we would expect there. There's another housing development that's being considered by the planning board. It's called Pulte Condominium Project. It's 100 condos, and it would be located on the east side of University Avenue between the Bridges Memory Care Facility and the Brigham and Women's Hospital
Down
office
that big
building.
open area.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So it'll be two 50-unit condo buildings, and that's being considered by the planning board for a special permit. The planning board had 2 sessions to consider this back in January, and has another session scheduled for February 27th. So if anyone has any interest, any concerns, just wants to find out about that project, come to the planning board meeting where it will be discussed. I think that's probably about it for University Station right now. We're still looking to work with the developer and trying to attract some office tenants for the rest of the project down there.
Wow. I mean, the place is hopping.
It is. It is.
And, so I know that the police station is phenomenal looking.
It
And
is.
it looks like you got a big hole where the old place is.
Yes, we do. So inside and out, the police station is terrific. It's really meeting the needs of the police department. The community space that was put in there is being used for Board of Selectmen meetings. They're terrific. It's a really great environment to hold those meetings. It's working well for the police throughout the facility. So much better than the old, small, tired building they had before. The new building is now fully down. They're finishing the basement excavation now, and then they'll come back in April to finish the site work, to add some more parking in front of that building, and to do the finished landscaping.
So everything in the old building's out and they just got to fill in the hole and
Completely
landscape
done.
it over?
Yeah, they're pulling out the basement portions of the foundation. So the building is down to ground level at this point. So we're looking forward to that. In the spring, we're actually moving the Westwood Farmers Market to the plaza that will be developed between Town Hall.
Oh, really? From the
and-
COA, they're going to move it over?
Yes. Well, it was at the COA for a few years, then it was at St.
St.
Margaret Mary's for
in
a
the
few years.
parking lot.
And both of those locations had pluses, but they also weren't highly visible. So we've We're going to
Right
give
on
it a try
109.
right on 109 where traffic is coming by. I think it'll be a more visible
They have
location,
great,
more helpful
great
for the
products there.
vendors. They do, they do. So that will open in June. I'll get you more information
Okay.
before we get close to that.
We like the pies.
They're good.
And the open space and recreation, how's that going?
That's going terrific. We had a visioning session on February 1st at the Thurston Middle School. About 60 people came out, which was terrific. All came out to talk to us about their thoughts on recreation and open space, the needs that we have, the facilities we have, what meets those needs, what doesn't. There seemed to be quite a bit of interest in a new indoor recreational facility, perhaps a facility that includes basketball courts, indoor tennis, an indoor track, an opportunity for seniors and children and residents of all ages to have a place to work out and
Oh, wow.
be together.
Would they combine some kind of hockey rink in there as well? or
It's a
no?
possibility. So there weren't all that many people at the visioning session speaking about hockey, but we have heard
Really?
from people. We also had a survey that was released, and we've heard from people on that survey that they are interested in seeing if the town might be able to have a hockey facility.
Belmont Hill High School has a beautiful facility.
Do they?
That
Yeah.
has hockey and basketball and a lot of different rooms all combined in.
Yeah, all great ideas. So we're looking at the results from the visioning session. We're also continuing our survey. So we had a survey that we put out back in November, right around the time of the fall town meeting.
I filled that one out.
Thank you very much. We had a good, about over 600 people that
Wow.
filled it out. We noticed that we didn't have that many children. There were, I think there was one person under 18 that had filled out the survey. So we spoke to Principal Sean Bevan, and he sent the survey link to the entire high school.
Oh,
And
wow.
we received maybe another 150 responses from the kids. So that was great.
The future of Westwood.
Great to hear.
There you go.
And as long as we were doing that, we decided to reopen the survey for everyone else. So it's now, the link is posted on our website, on the Open Space and Recreation Planning Committee's webpage. It will also be run in this week's Westwood Press. So anyone who's interested, you still have time. If you haven't answered the survey yet, please go online and do that, and we will keep it open through the end of this month. So you have until February 28th to let us know what you like about Westwood's Open Space and Recreation and what you think could use improvement.
If you filled it out already, can you fill it out again?
We
If you have any changes?
don't have a way. Actually, I think it is specific to a single computer, but I'm not
An
sure
IP
of that.
address or something?
It might be. It
Okay.
might be.
So
But if
no
you have new
duplicating.
ideas, go ahead and give it a try. If there's another family member that hasn't filled it out,
So now the
encourage
young
them
kids
to
can
do
do
it.
it even.
they can. They
Oh,
can. We're
so that's
accepting survey responses from all ages. And then just to describe what this is, the survey and the visioning session are giving us information so that the committee can update the open space and recreation plan. That's a document that we produced in the year 2000, so it's quite stale. A lot of the goals that were important then are still important, but there might be some different sensibilities. The idea of an indoor recreation facility, whether it's hockey, basketball, running, tennis, or all of those combined,
Indoor track
that
for the
really
winter months?
wasn't discussed in the past. It seems to be of interest now. That would be something that's included in the plan. Now, including in the plan doesn't mean it's going to be built in the near future.
It's just in the plan.
It means it's an aspiration and it's something that we will be working towards.
Oh, that's a great explanation. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Let's see.
I can
Anything else?
talk about Islington State.
Oh, Islington Center.
That's a big project that we're working on.
Oh, near and dear to my heart.
Yes, so there's a flexible multiple use overlay district special permit application before the planning board. And what that is, it's a special permit that would allow the property owner to create mixed use, both commercial and residential uses in the same project. The application was first considered by the planning board in early January. They had another meeting session, a hearing session last Tuesday, and there's a third session that's now scheduled for February 27th at the Downey School cafeteria at 7 p.m. So any residents have any opinions, anything they want to express about that project should come to the planning board meeting. And if they can't do that, they are welcome to send an email to me or to town planner Abby McCabe, and we'll be sure that their thoughts are presented to the planning board. So
Is there any
they'll be
place
heard.
where they can go get the information? Because a lot of times, people walk in the meeting and they listen to their best friend who doesn't quite have it right.
Yes, you're right.
And
So
it just stalls time for the meeting.
we post everything on the website. The planning board page of the website has a section called Current Planning Board Applications. And if you go to that section and scroll down to reach the Islington Center project, You'll see every plan, every report, every peer review analysis of the report. Anything that's been discussed at a planning board meeting is posted to that web page. You can also come to Westwood Media Center and you can review the hearing sessions that you might have missed.
Aha.
Watch the videos and see exactly what was discussed. So there are lots of issues that are still out there. There's some that have been resolved and some that still have to be considered. This has been in the planning process for quite a while. In fact, it all came out of a request for proposals, an RFP, that the town issued in May of 2016.
Oh, wow.
And since September of 2016, we have been meeting with the developer in public session to review the project. First in front of the Islington Center Task Force,
remember that one.
then in front of the selectmen, and now in front of the planning board. So they are listening to residents who attend those meetings or write in about those meetings, and they're addressing concerns that have been raised. One of the first concerns that was raised was about the ICC building. Residents love the iconic appearance of that New England church building, and so the developer amended the plans so that the proposal includes a reconstruction of that building. The new mixed-use building will look like the existing church building on the
It'll have a
outside.
little
The
tower on
facades will
top.
be the same. It'll have the same a replica of the
Will they
of the
fix the
steeple
lights
that's
at
there.
the intersection?
Yes, so that's another part of the project. We heard that people were concerned about the left-hand turns.
Oh, yeah.
So we had both the project traffic engineer and the peer review traffic engineer concentrate on that and come up with ideas for options, how that intersection can be improved. And they presented, I think, 5 different options to the planning board this week, and the planning board is considering which option works best.
Oh, good.
Another issue is there's a new CVS building that's proposed where Cafe Diva is now. Residents were concerned about the potential for a drive-through. So town officials and the developer met with CVS representatives, and we worked out an agreement so that the new project would not have a drive-through.
You have to get out and go get your stuff.
You do, or there'll be a curbside pickup option as well. So
Oh,
you'll
really?
be able
For like
to,
any seniors, someone will bring it right out to them?
yes, or say you're picking up a prescription for a sick child and the child's in the car with you, and you don't want
Oh,
to
that's handy.
get out. It'd be very convenient. So those issues have been addressed. There was concern about apartments. The original project called for 28 one-bedroom apartments, and we heard from some neighborhood residents that they would much prefer to see condominiums. So now the project calls for 18 two-bedroom condominiums instead of the apartments. So there are several issues. There was also concern that MMO might not be able to survive if they had to leave the town-owned building and move into a privately controlled building where they would face market rents. We worked out an arrangement between MMO and the developer that they will have new space built to suit in the building where the current CVS is, on the lower level, so accessible from the back of that building. They will do that with the 1-year renewable lease, and they will do it at a lease rate equivalent to what they're paying the town.
Wow.
So win-win there. There are still some other issues that need to be resolved. The Blue Heart Tavern is a historic building in that area.
I've seen it.
We're hoping to find a way to save that building as part of this project. It's very difficult. The building is now estimated to cost at least $1 million to restore.
For that little old building?
For that tiny little building, and the use is not quite known at this point. It could be commercial on the first floor, it could be an apartment above, but it's a tough nut to crack, so the planning board is looking at that. They're also looking at affordable housing. So this project, as all special permit projects that have housing components, they're required to have 15% of the overall number of units reserved for affordable housing. In this case, there are 18 condominiums proposed, so they're required to have 3 affordable units.
Right.
Now, they could put those as 3 for-sale affordable units in the condo complex, or they can propose an alternative. They've chosen to propose an alternative that would take 3 existing apartments in Islington Center, 1 in the developer's existing building at 321 Washington Street, and 2 in the former ski stop building that already exist above where the ski
Right.
stop used to be. Those are rental, 1-bedroom rental apartments. And the proposal is to convert all 3 of those units to affordable housing. That meets the requirement of the bylaw, but it does more than that. What it does, by putting the 1 more unit in 321 Washington Street, that makes 25% of the units in that overall building affordable. And that enables the town to count the entire building
The
on
whole
its
project,
subsidized housing inventory. So instead of getting 3 units, we get 3 affordable units, but we get to count 12 affordable units on our inventory.
So that we have 10% housing.
Exactly, yes.
Oh,
So it
that's-
keeps us above the 10%. We're above there now, but there's always a concern that in 2020, we may be skating the line. When 2020 census comes out, what we need to do is we need to account for all the houses that have been built in Westwood since 2010,
Oh,
all
wow.
of the units. And we have to make sure we still have 10%. And to make sure we stay above that, we're looking to capture every affordable unit we can. And by being able to add additional units to our subsidized housing inventory, that's a great boon for Westwood. So the planning board's considering those two proposals, and they will decide if they will allow that alternative proposal. I hope they will, because I think it really provides some great protection to the town.
It's really nice how much they're listening to the input of the community.
They really are. And it's great that so many residents are giving that input, that they're taking the time to come out to all these meetings over a period of about 18 months now to discuss this project. It's a very important project. It has the opportunity to significantly change Islington,
the
that
whole-
portion of
the whole
Westwood,
flavor, sure.
and the town as a whole. It has a lot of pluses it can give, but we have to make sure it's carefully designed, carefully managed, and that it achieves all the goals that we can hope. Of
Well,
course, it
thank you.
can't be everything to all people. You know, there's a finite amount. The land is worth only so much. You can't squeeze blood out of a stone, so at some point we'll reach our cap. But the planning board and the selectmen and the residents who are coming out to participate in these discussions are really doing a great job to make this project the best it can be.
Oh, see, a community living and working together.
Yes.
It's like economic development.
Exactly. One other thing I wanted to point out is the timeline, so that it'll be going back before the planning board on February 27th, and then
At the Downey?
at the Downey School, beginning at 7 p.m. Then the planning board will go to the FinCom, Finance and Warrant Commission, on March 5th to report how much progress they have made. And a decision will have to be made whether they think they're ready to bring the project to town meeting. If they're ready, there'll be 4 articles that can be considered at town meeting on May 7th. So everyone should put that date on their calendar, May 7th, and that's town meeting in the high school auditorium. So stay tuned. If you're interested in talking about the specific design, come to the planning board meeting on the 27th. If you're interested in talking about the town meeting articles and how the Finance and Warrant Commission should consider those articles, come to the hearing at the Finance and Warrant Commission on March 5th.
And if you missed those because you're out of town, the Westwood Media Center will be taping them, and they'll be available on our website, right?
Yes,
Oh,
terrific.
that's a tremendous amount of information. Is there anything else?
So what else is going on? There's a potential age-restricted housing development on High Street. The planning board will consider plans on March 13th at a pre-application hearing. This would be a project for seniors that would develop 11 single-family homes and 8 townhouses on the Harlequin Stables property. If you're familiar with that, it's 215 High Street. There was a
Okay, yeah.
proposal several years ago
Remember that.
by Four Seasons to put a much more densely developed senior housing project there. And that project was eventually withdrawn after many, many, many meetings and discussions. This project is less dense. It's predominantly single-family structures, but it'll be presented to the planning board. So anyone who has any interest in that should come to the planning board on March 13th, and I don't know the location of that meeting yet, but it will be posted to the website. I can also tell you the planning board is having a zoning hearing, so articles that are going to the town meeting in May that affect zoning first have to go to the planning board. That meeting, that'll be a hearing at the meeting on February 27th. So if you're coming there for the Islington project, you might want to stay for the zoning hearing.
It's a bonus.
Yes.
It's a twofer.
And
All right.
both of there'll be 3 zoning articles that they'll be considering. They all have to do with Islington. 2 of them would be zoning articles to enable the project, the Islington Center redevelopment project, to be considered. And the 3rd will be a petition article that was submitted by residents to reduce the number of housing units that are permitted in the FMUOD 6 Washington Street and FMUOD 7 High Street zones. So right now there's not a numerical cap on the housing units, there's a floor area cap. And what this proposal would do is reduce that. Right now you can have anywhere from 100 to 150 units in each of those developments by floor area. This would reduce it to no more than 30 housing units in each of those districts. So that's a petition article,
That would
and the
significantly
selectmen will
cap.
discuss it.
If that's put in place, will that hinder the applications that have already been submitted?
I don't believe it would. I believe that applications, they're already under consideration.
put it
so
in.
they would not be counted, right? But the Islington Center restoration or rehabilitation project proposes 18 units. There are 12 existing units in Islington Center. If you added those together, that
That's
gets
30.
you to 30. What it does mean is that if the petition article passes and if the Islington Center project articles pass and that project goes forward, there would be no opportunity for any additional housing in Islington Center. There would be an opportunity for no more than 30 units on High Street. So if that article passes. So the selectmen, the planning board will discuss that in detail. They'll hear from members of the audience with positions one way or the other, and then the planning board members will weigh in and will eventually give their recommendation first to the FinCom and then to town meeting.
It's going to be a busy night.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
So I've got one more thing I want to tell you about. We have something new in Westwood. It's called Westwood Wire. It's an online newsletter. So this was created not to replace the quarterly newsletter that goes home to all the residents, but to supplement it. So while the quarterly newsletter allows us to get information out every 4 months or every 3 months, this would allow us to get information out on a more frequent basis. Anyone who's interested can just go onto the website, input your email address, and you will get sent copies of the Westwood Wire every time it goes out, maybe monthly, maybe bi-weekly, maybe when something important comes up. I'm not quite sure, but I know there's an issue that's going out in the next day or two.
And where do you go to sign up for that?
Go to the Town of Westwood website, and you will see a section for residents, and you go onto that, and it'll give you an opportunity.
There'll be a link there?
There'll be a link there to sign up for it.
Oh,
and I encourage it
fantastic.
because it gives you information on all sorts of projects, not just town projects, but community events, a recycling event, or
Hazardous Waste Day?
yes, something like that, or even the Girl Scout Ice Cream Social, or
Ooh, that's a good one.
whatever's going on, you will
I
hear
remember
about it on the Westwood Wire. So in addition to all the information that residents can obtain from watching Westwood Media Center, they can also get them online at the Westwood
I'll be
Wire.
out of a job.
I think we'll work well together.
Well, I do want to tell you that we just had a little emergency at my house, and we had a fire, and the police coming from the new police station were fantastic. They got there, they started directing everybody off the front yard. The fire station was unbelievable, their response time. They saved the house. 90 seconds later, I think the whole house would have gone up in flames, and that just would have been catastrophic. You never can replace the memories. So I really want to thank both the police and the fire department specifically, and thank you very much for treating my family like a member of your family. Like, my parents were there, and they treated them with the most unbelievable respect and kindness, that they felt that it was their sons and nephews that were helping out. And so thank you from my whole family.
Well, that's great to hear. I'm sorry you had that experience, but I'm glad to hear that the service was all
They
it
were
could be.
spot on awesome, and the response from the neighborhood and friends and family was just something you read about, that you hope that you're part of. That we really are really lucky and blessed to be part of Westwood.
It's a terrific community.
So thank you. Hale Reservation sits right in our backyard and has wonderful amenities for children and families alike. To learn more about Hale, you can visit www.halereservation.org. You can also log on to the westwoodmediacenter.tv, and we'll have a link. And now, into the woods.
Hi, I'm Shannon Obi, and we're at Hale right now, and although it may seem like summer is a long way off, it will be here before we know it. Like many locals, I grew up going to Membership Beach with my family, and it's where I have so many fun, amazing memories from the summer. Today, I have the privilege of working at what is now known as Hale Summer Club, and we changed the name to better reflect everything that we offer. Sure, we have a great beach program and lots of aquatic activities, including swimming, boating, stand-up paddle boards, sunfish, but there's so much more that we do in the summer. Participants at Hale Summer Club are able to participate in outings, arts and crafts, the ropes course, archery, nature programming, and just general exploring of our natural environment. And new this year, we'll be offering extended hours in the morning, more fitness options for adults, as well as more babysitting options so that parents can participate in some of the things that we're able to offer. So what will you and your family be doing this summer? Hopefully it's coming down to Hale and making some of your own memories. Please check out our Hale website to learn more information, and that's www.halereservation.org. Thank you.
Here's what's coming up at the Counseling on Aged. The New England Irish Harp and Orchestra will be hosting a program called the Celtic Harp, Magic and Legend, led by Regina Delaney. This musical event will feature Irish and Scottish songs arranged with expertise and reflects on the unique journey. This event will be held on Saturday, March 10th at 2 p.m. at the Westwood Public Library. Digital photography classes will be held on March 1st and March 15th from 3 to 4 at the Thurston Middle School. These classes are open to everyone and will help to explain how to make beautiful digital creations on your iPad and upload them for all to see. This class is hosted by senior Kylie O'Reilly and part of her SIPP project. Also on March 15th, the COA will be traveling to the Boston Flower Show at the Seaport World Trade Center. This event is $90 per person and includes transportation, lunch, and a ticket for the show. So sign up soon. We hope you have enjoyed this edition of Inside Westwood. Be sure to check out the interactive community calendar located at the westwoodmediacenter.tv. Just follow the link at the top of the page and you're there. Thank you and Godspeed.